For whatever reason, it's been almost a year. I think Terry left at the end of May, May 28th, in fact. He was morning man at CHOM for so many years. And, we still kind of chat every now and then over social media. And I thought it'd be really nice because I know he had a lot of fans here to find out how he's doing. So Terry very graciously said, yeah, sure, let's go. And I believe he's on the phone. Hey, Terry.
Hey, Aaron, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you, more importantly?
I'm doing well. I'm actually considering, the road that I had to travel. I'm actually I'm doing much better. As my doctor here said, every day will feel better than the last, and that's kind of been what the process has been. I feel a little stronger every week. I mean, I was in bed for 31 days in the hospital, and when you're in bed for 31 days, a bunch of things happen, including, your legs end up like a couple of Twizzlers. They don't hold much up, so it took me some time to sort of get back into the swing of things. But slowly but surely, I'm doing much better. I'm feeling more
That's
like
great.
myself every day.
For people who don't know, Terry, when you're talking about being in bed for 31 days, you had you had a bit of a shock. Tell everybody what happened.
Yeah, I had a scheduled surgery. People who are my age, I'm 65 now. You'll know that you probably know somebody who's had heart valve surgery. I ended up with a bum heart valve, and it needed to be replaced. And while they were in there replacing my valve, they bypassed an artery. So I had open heart surgery, and the surgery itself went extremely well. I was actually out of surgery. The next day I was sitting up and having something to eat. But unfortunately, I checked off all the boxes of complications post-surgery. I had a very, very tough case of pneumonia and was on life support for almost, I think my wife will correct me on this because, I slept through it. She had the worst of it. Jess had to sort of, be my advocate while I was intubated and unconscious.
Oh my gosh.
But for 10 or 11 days, we didn't know if I was going to be able to come out of it. And suddenly I did. And now I'm at home and doing much better. So it was by cardiac surgeons' schedules. It was routine surgery. The complications, unfortunately, were the bigger
Right.
challenge for me.
And what's the prognosis now? So you're on the road to recover here. You sound good. What have they told you?
Yeah, you just you have to you've got to stay busy, and you've got to keep an eye on all of the things that you have to keep an eye on when you're in your 60s. Things like your cholesterol and your blood pressure and all of those things. But the heart valve that was replaced, which is quite remarkable when you think of what they can do today. A doctor said to me, he said, 60 years ago, 50 or 60 years ago, if you'd come to me with a bum heart valve, I would have told you to go home and enjoy the last 2 years of your life. So that really puts it in perspective. He said, now we can do these amazing things. But, the idea is look after yourself, stay active, and keep an eye on your health. And that, that's one of the messages that I wanted to make sure that, people need to go see their doctor. Even people who think they're in shape and think they're fine and feel great, make sure you go see your doctor. The preventative medicine thing was preached to me by Dr. Uman and the doctors at Cardiogenics when I started to see them in 2014 or 2015. And they were the ones that sort of alerted me to the fact that I had a heart murmur and I was eventually going to have to do something about it. And the way the timing played out, I ended up having it done here in Vancouver.
So that's the next part of this, right? You're now on the West Coast. You're with Jess, with your wife.
Yeah.
I guess the first question is, what's life like on the west end of the country?
Well, it's what Jess and I miss a lot of things about Montreal. We are the typical Montrealers who've moved away. We talk about Montreal all the time. We talk about the places that we miss. We miss our friends at the Monkland Tavern. We miss the hot dogs. We miss Snowden Dell. A lot of it has to do with the food, and also the people. The West Coast is a completely different place with a completely different way of life and a completely different, people here behave much, much differently than Quebecers do. And that's been a very tough adjustment. One thing that hasn't been a tough adjustment is we do not miss the nonstop snow that you guys have been getting. We've been walking around in our shorts since February, and that by and large is one of the the main reasons that we moved out here. And the waking up and looking at the mountains every day is kind of special. But like every ex-Montrealer will tell you, if you're on Facebook or Twitter, there are ex-Montrealers all over the planet, and all they do is talk about Montreal.
Let me tell you one thing. Here. We used to live not far from each other in Griffintown. You'd be happy to know, Terry, that Griffintown is worse now. So I just thought that you'd get some joy from that.
If it's possible, it actually is.
It is. It got worse.
I got to tell you, I'm not surprised to hear that. Have they managed to shrink the streets anymore, Aaron?
No, that's as much as they could, Terry. They figured out now that by shrinking the streets, they can't get emergency vehicles or garbage trucks down the streets. So they're going to have to rethink that, I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
Back to the drawing board.
Hey, Terry, will you be able to start doing the podcast again with Ted Bird? Is that in the plans?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Natasha. I appreciate that. Ted and I have been sort of sketching out the next, we do them in seasons. We do them at 10 or 12 episodes at a time. And we've been talking about the next season, and I think in the coming weeks I'm going to get the green light to travel from my cardiologist, and when I do, Ted and I will head into the studio in Chabanel and get another season going. So we hope to have that out by late May or early June.
And maybe you should think about taking your honeymoon with Jess finally.
Well, believe me, Natasha, that's something. We got married on COVID Eve, as I like to say, on March 12th, 2020, and Jess. I'm not exaggerating. Jess saved my life. She was my advocate, and she was at the hospital every day for 12, 15 hours a day. She took leave from work, and I wouldn't have made it through without her. So it's long overdue, and it looks like it might be October, Natasha. So
awesome.
It definitely is. It's on the schedule.
Good.
Hey, Terry, it's great hearing your voice. I'm sure for a lot of people listening now, they're thinking the exact same thing. And by the way, just to give you an idea of how I have absolutely no idea what time is, I said it's been about a year. It was 2021, not 2022. That's how out of touch I am with time. I don't even know what year it is anymore. It feels like you've been gone for so long.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Aaron. It's, as I always love to say, it's nice to be missed.
There you go. Terry DiMonte, everybody. Terry, thank you. Wish you all the best, and we'll chat soon.
Thanks for doing this, Aaron. I appreciate the thought. Thanks a lot,
Pleasure.
guys.
There you go. Terry DiMonte living the life out in the West Coast.
And on the mend.
Feeling better. It's good news.